Hello, welcome to another episode of Forgotten Cemeteries, Pacific Northwest. Today we're at Womer Cemetery, located in Pedee or Pedee, Oregon. I'm not sure how to say it. I've heard it said both ways, so I'm sure someone in the comments will be like, actually it's pronounced this way, dummy. Okay, so today we're in Polk County. Alternative names of the cemetery, none that I know of. So let's go meet some local residents and hear their story. Little history behind this cemetery. It was established in 1887 and 100 to 500 barrels per the Oregon Burial Site Guide. Find a grave is showing 446 memorials so far. Sign out front also says the cemetery was established in 1903. So yeah, I got 2 dates for it. Anywho, it would be located on the Mary Gilliam's donation land claim. The Gilliams hail from North Carolina. From my understanding, this cemetery is one of the most elusive travels in the state when it comes to tourism or just backroad traveling in general. Highly recommend this one. You go through Amity, go through Dallas. I mean, it's a beautiful drive if you come out here from the Portland metro area. Anywho, just another out of the way one with not much, but I did dig up what I could. Today we'll hear the story of a tortured virgin, meet Civil War vets, read the journal entry of a Civil War regiment that crashed twice while traveling to New Orleans and nearly lost everything, including their lives. And finally, an individual who was drafted during the Civil War but said no thanks and ran from the federal government as far as Colorado during the 1800s. Was he caught? Let's find out. And our first stop is the headstone of George Reinhardt, born in 1822 in, oh boy, Écartsviller, Bahrain, Alsace, France. Oh my god, that can't be right. Which is a tiny village that only inhabits 350 people until this day. But fun factoid, the church in the village is dedicated to Apollonia. I feel like that's the girl from the Prince movie. Anywho, Apollonia was one of the first virgins that paid the price in Alexandria during an uprising against the Christians. Word has it she was tortured and had her teeth violently pulled and shattered. Therefore, she's considered the Saint of Dentistry. Back George, not much of his youth, except his dad was a shoemaker. It does show during that year of 1834, a bunch of people from this tiny town picked Ohio out of all the places to immigrate to. So that's most likely when George arrived into America. Apologies, the headstone of Nehemiah Freer, I think that's a Freer. It's an interesting last name. The front of his headstone's facing towards the fence, and the fence is like super close to the headstone. A Civil War vet serving in the 26th New York Light. They were nicknamed the Barnes Rifle Battery. I read that they were trained in New York, but apparently moved to New Orleans. That didn't go well for my readings. There's a journal entry I came across, and it's quoted as, "In defense of its country, being one of the youngest batteries, we have never as yet had the chance to make ourselves famous. Although in this country, we feel very large. We arrived in the city of New Orleans on the 4th of February, 1863, after a journey of 61 days from New York City. Being shipwrecked twice on our way, losing all of our baggage, 106 horses, and in fact everything but our own lives. Kind Providence on our side and sparing us." End of quote. Looks like their big part during the Civil War was helping the Red River Campaign, a Union offensive in the Trans-Mississippi Theater. And up ahead is a very clean headstone of Samuel Paul Riker, born in Northampton County, PA. He used to be one of the world's largest distributors of steel during the 20th century, but that ended in 2003. Now, we've learned that Pennsylvania held a Civil War draft in the year 1862 at Clark's Pioneer Cemetery, because we had a story there. Ages 20 to 45 were required to register for the draft. The write-up on Samuel here was a bit confusing, and Samuel's true part in the Civil War appears to be hit or miss. It mentions that he may have been drafted and didn't want to fight against relatives on the opposing side, so fair enough. So he allegedly took his grandmother's maiden name, Richardson. Then another source says Samuel was either drafted or enlisted. The writer suspects that Samuel never showed up for battle, or maybe fought in a few engagements and was perhaps horrified by the sights he saw on the battlefield. Allegedly, the federal government was trying to track him down and chased him all the way to Colorado. There's a mention that he may have changed his name several times to avoid capture. But the final one is Samuel Paul, and the name appears from the U.S. Census after the year 1860. And when you go through his family history, all the males have the last name Paul, so it's a bit all over the place. He does have a great times grandfather who served in the Revolutionary War, though. However, regardless, Samuel did a good job disappearing from history, as I couldn't find anything matching anything in the Civil War roster records. A link below to the Find a Grave write-up will be below if you're more than welcome to read up on it. It's an interesting story. But Samuel and his family were arrivals in Oregon in 1895. A little late for our taste, but a very cool story. And our final stop is the headstone of Christian Gross, a Civil War veteran from Ohio. A comment on his profile mentions that he fought in the Battle of Shiloh, so I think he may have served in the 1st Regiment, who was listed in fighting in that engagement. Shiloh was one of the bigger engagements in the Civil War and showcased Union General U.S. Grant versus Confederate General Sidney Johnson. Both commanders made some questionable choices during this battle, and a lot of soldiers died during this epic battle. Around 24,000 casualties, I believe I read online. And I guess that number is like severely understated. I believe an article stated it perfectly. The Battle of Shiloh set a new standard for slaughter. I read a number that the Battle of Shiloh American deaths exceeded those from all the previous American wars combined, apparently. The Union would come out with a victory, but it was kind of a wake-up call for both sides that the US and the CSA. This wasn't going to be a quick war between the two. It was going to be a very long run. Time for the short tour, similar to Edwards across the street. You come up that road, which coincidentally says dead end on it. How ironic. But Edwards is over there. That was a small visit, but interesting story of Polk County lynchings. This is rather odd to me, like just all the headstones facing the opposite way, and like that one we talked about, Civil War veteran. I just never seen that before. Beautiful country though out here. And Pedee or Pedee, I still don't know. Some of the locals call it Pedee, and Google kept calling it Pedee, and then I started questioning myself. I'm like, uh-oh. Time to get corrected in the comments. Can't wait. Look at those cows. If you'd like to get buried out in the middle of nowhere, this is a good one. I mean, it is just nothing but silence. I mean, once in a while a car will come by, a bee will visit you. The bees are nice here, if that's a thing. Maybe they're more chill out here. They have the whole country to themselves. Ritners here. Talk about that last name. Cemetery across the road. Prettier memorials in the cemetery. Dyer. Oh, cool. Woodman of the World memorial. So glad we checked the back, and the fence is very close. These look like they come off or something though. It looks like there's like little bolts on there or something behind those covers. Talked about Riker, whose headstone's like immaculate. It's super clean. I said this one's taken care of pretty well. So is the one across the road. But if you're looking to get out of town or getting away from the world, this is quite the visit and quite the sight. Figured I'd walk over here and get you a nice view. Anywho, If you have any recommendations on cemeteries to visit in Oregon, Southern Washington, feel free to pipe up below. Hope you enjoyed this short visit. A lot of cool Civil War stories. Yeah, stay safe out there. Summer's coming. Getting ready for nice weather. Thanks for watching.